Divine Feminine, you might be in the hardest place on this journey, the place where you're trying to look healed before you actually feel healed. You're telling yourself you're fine, forcing a smile, acting unbothered, convincing your mind that if you just stay calm enough, detached enough, silent enough, union will finally happen. But underneath that performance is a different reality. Your nervous system is still carrying grief, longing, anger, confusion, and unanswered truth. And when you try to block the connection, numb your feelings, or prove you're okay, it can feel like strength, yet it often creates a quiet inner fracture. Because you're not becoming free, you're becoming split. One part of you is acting empowered, while another part of you is silently begging to be seen. And here's what makes it even more painful. You may be doing all of this hoping it will bring them closer, when in reality, it can keep you stuck in a loop where union becomes a performance instead of a reality. In today's video, we're going to dismantle one of the biggest illusions in the twin flame journey, the idea that union can be manifested through emotional acting. We'll talk about why pretending to be okay, blocking the connection out of fear, or numbing your heart does not create alignment, it only creates distance inside your own truth. You'll learn the difference between real strength and emotional shutdown, between regulation and avoidance, between boundaries and punishment, and why performing healed is not the same as being anchored. Because twin flames do not reunite through appearances. They reunite through integrity, through truth, through a foundation that can actually hold two nervous systems without collapse. By the end of this video, you won't just think differently, you'll feel steadier. You'll stop using "I'm fine" as armor. You'll stop trying to force yourself into numbness as proof of healing, and you'll stop confusing disconnection with power. You will understand this clearly. Union cannot be faked, because truth is the only foundation strong enough to hold reunification. And when you return to truth, something profound happens. You stop chasing union as an outcome, and you start becoming the kind of energetic and emotional integrity that makes real union possible. Not because you're pretending you don't care, but because you finally refuse to abandon yourself to get love. So if you've been trying to act unbothered while your soul is still speaking, stay with me. Watch this all the way through, because what I'm about to share may be the exact shift that ends the performance and brings you back to the only place union has ever been able to begin: truth. Section 1. The illusion of being really good. So many twins try to win union by performing strength. You tell yourself, if I look unbothered, if I stay positive, if I act like I've moved on, the universe will finally reward me. So you keep your face calm even when your chest is tight. You keep your voice light even when your heart is heavy. You curate a version of your life that looks peaceful, smiling photos, inspiring captions, productivity, glow-ups, because it feels safer to be admired than to be seen. And on the surface, it can look like you're thriving. But underneath, there's still that quiet ache. There's still the longing you don't want to admit. There's still the part of you that checks for signs, replays memories, wonders if they miss you, and tries to prove you're okay, not because you are okay, but because you're terrified of what it would mean to fully feel what's true. Here's the hard truth. This journey cannot be negotiated with appearances. You cannot manipulate a soul lesson with a highlight reel. Union does not respond to performance, it responds to integration. Because the point was never to look healed. The point was to become honest, stable, and whole. When you pretend you have it all together, you aren't actually healing, you're managing perception. You're building a mask that keeps you functional, but it also keeps you disconnected from your real process. And when you hide your longing, you might look strong, but you're still running. You're still avoiding the very place where transformation happens, the raw, unfiltered truth of what you feel and why you feel it. Real healing is not looking unaffected. Real healing is being willing to sit with your pain without needing it to be validated. It's letting the longing rise without turning it into obsession, strategy, or self-abandonment. It's admitting, this still matters to me, without collapsing into it. It's learning to hold your own heart openly, gently, and without shame. Because the journey doesn't move forward when you become really good at pretending. It moves forward when you stop performing and start processing. When you choose truth over image. when you stop hiding and start healing. Section 2. Running can look like numbing. A lot of people run from this connection without ever labeling it as running, because in their mind, running looks dramatic, blocking, disappearing, cutting ties, refusing to speak about it. But the truth is, some of the most common forms of running are quiet, socially acceptable, and even praised. Running can look like denial. You tell yourself it wasn't real, you over-rationalize what happened, you minimize the intensity, you try to downgrade the connection into something normal, so your nervous system doesn't have to feel the truth of it. Running can look like distraction. You stay busy, you stay entertained, you fill every silence with noise, work, social plans, scrolling, constant stimulation, anything that keeps you from sitting alone long enough to hear what your soul has been trying to say. Running can also look like chasing other energies, not because you're genuinely available for love, but because you're trying to replace the mirror. You search for a spark that will override the truth. You pursue new attention, new chemistry, new connections, anything that temporarily gives you relief from the depth of what this twin flame mirror exposes. And sometimes it becomes an addiction in disguise, the addiction to validation, to being wanted, to feeling pursued, to staying in motion so you never have to be still. But hear this clearly, numbing is still a form of running. If you are constantly reaching for something that keeps you away from the mirror, you are still avoiding the very medicine this path is offering you. That's why it's so important to recognize these patterns as running too, not to shame yourself, but to wake yourself up. Because this journey isn't asking you to move on as a performance. It's asking you to face what you need to face so you can become whole. It's asking you to meet your own wounds, your unmet needs, your attachment patterns, your fear of being fully seen, and your fear of being fully alone. Not so you can earn union, but so you can create wholeness within yourself first. And once you stop numbing, you start remembering. The connection isn't your enemy. The discomfort is not punishment. It's an invitation. The mirror is not here to break you, it's here to bring you back to yourself. If this part is hitting you, take a breath and be honest with yourself, because awareness is the moment the pattern starts to lose power. And you don't have to judge yourself for the ways you've coped, you just have to recognize them. Before we move into the next section, I want you to pause and reflect. Where have you been running without calling it running, through distraction, denial, or staying constantly busy? If you feel ready, leave a comment and share what you noticed in yourself, or simply type, "I choose truth over numbness." And if this message is helping you, please like this video so it reaches the people who need it, and stay with me because what we're about to cover next is where real change begins. Section 3. The Twin Flame Mirror and the Path of Ascension. The twin flame journey is not random, and it is not here to complete you. It is a beautifully designed grid line, a sacred energetic structure that activates the mirror of your own soul. It brings you face to face with what you cannot easily access on your own, because some parts of the self only reveal themselves inside relationship, inside longing, inside trigger, inside contrast. This mirror does not exist to punish you. It exists to show you the truth of your inner landscape with precision, where you have been strong, where you have been fragmented, where you have been performing love instead of embodying it. And when that mirror turns toward you, it does one powerful thing. It makes the invisible visible. Your shadows come into the light not as shame, but as information. The patterns you inherited, the fears you normalized, the wounds you learned to spiritualize, the parts of you that still reach for love from survival, all of it rises. Unconscious pain surfaces. Old memories reappear. The pain body energy that you buried under being fine steps forward, not because you're regressing, but because you are finally ready to heal at the root. This is why the journey can feel intense. It doesn't heal the surface, it exposes the source. So do not run away from what is being revealed. Don't label it as failure. Don't assume that being triggered means you are not spiritual enough. It means the mirror is working. It means the soul is calling you back into wholeness. Instead of fleeing, learn to witness. Ask yourself, what part of me is asking for safety right now? What belief is being challenged? What wound is demanding my attention? When you stop fighting the reflection and start listening to it, your power returns. You are no longer reacting, you are transforming. Because the deeper purpose of this connection is ascension. Not ascension as escape, not ascension as fantasy, but ascension as embodiment, healing thyself, reclaiming your energy, and becoming the version of you that no longer needs pain to feel alive. The mirror becomes a vehicle, a sacred opportunity to dissolve the old self, to release the identities built around abandonment, unworthiness, and chasing. And as you heal, you ascend not by becoming someone else, but by returning to who you truly are. This is the invitation of the twin flame path, to rise through what you feel, to integrate what you once rejected, and to ascend your soul into clarity, sovereignty, and love that is real. Section 4. Polishing the veils, becoming light on earth. This journey is not only about love, it is about refinement. It gives you the rare and sacred chance to polish the darkness, the density, and the veils that have gathered around your soul over time. These veils are not bad. They are layers formed through pain, survival, forgetting, conditioning, and yes, sometimes through many lifetimes of carrying what was never fully healed. And when this path activates you, it does not do so to overwhelm you. It does so because your soul is ready to see what has been hidden and to become free. Understand this clearly. The veils do not come off through force. You cannot rip your way into enlightenment. You cannot shame yourself into becoming whole. The veils lift through truth you are willing to face, even when it challenges the stories you've lived by. They lift through devotion, not devotion to a person, but devotion to your own awakening. They lift through inner work, the daily, sometimes quiet, sometimes uncomfortable choices to meet yourself with honesty, to regulate your nervous system, to heal the parts of you that still brace for abandonment, to release the identities built around fear, control, or longing. So take this opportunity fully. Let this be the season where you choose healing over repeating, choose growth over chasing, choose transformation over fantasy. Let your vibration rise not as a performance, not as spiritual superiority, but as a natural consequence of clearing what is heavy and returning to what is true. As you heal, you ascend. As you ascend, you become lighter, not fragile, but luminous, not disconnected from life, but deeply rooted in it. And here is the higher purpose. Let this shape a legacy. Not a legacy of obsession, not a legacy of pain, but a legacy of light. A legacy of truth where you no longer betray yourself to be chosen. A legacy of love where your love is clean, sovereign, and real. Because the point of becoming light is not to escape earth. It is to become light on earth so your presence changes rooms. Your boundaries teach others how to respect the sacred, and your life becomes evidence that healing is possible. That is what we are here to do. Imagine this journey like standing in front of an old mirror that's been clouded for years. At first you think the mirror is the connection, but what you're really seeing is every layer of fog you've plast. Learn to live with. For example, he goes quiet, and the old veil inside you instantly activates. You feel the urge to chase, to explain, to prove your worth, to scan for signs. But instead of reacting, you pause, you breathe. You notice, this is my abandonment wound asking for control. You choose truth over panic, no texting from fear, no spiraling, no self-betrayal. You do the inner work. You soothe your body, journal the trigger, set a boundary, and return to your life with dignity. And something subtle but powerful happens. The veil lifts. Not because he changed overnight, but because you did. You become clearer, steadier, more honest with yourself, and your energy stops feeding illusion. That's polishing the veil in real life. Each trigger becomes a moment where you remove another layer, and your legacy shifts from emotional survival to embodied light. Section 5. Wholeness first, then reunification. Yes, union is often part of the story, but it's rarely the first step. The first step is ownership. Ownership of your healing, ownership of your patterns. Ownership of the places where you've been waiting for someone else to complete what your soul came here to integrate. Because in true, final reunification, wholeness has to happen inside you first, not as a concept, not as a mantra, but as a lived, internal reality. This is the part many people skip. They reach for the external counterpart, while the inner counterpart is still divided. And when the inner is divided, the outer can only mirror division back to you through delay, distance, confusion, and the endless feeling of almost, but not yet. Wholeness is when your inner yin and yang finally come into harmony, when your inner masculine stops acting like a guard dog and starts becoming a devoted protector of your inner feminine. When your masculine is no longer harsh, rushed, or demanding, when it becomes steady, loving, and soft with your feminine instead of trying to control her. And when your feminine is no longer performing, pleading, or shrinking, when she becomes fully expressed, fully receptive, fully alive in her truth. This is where your feminine begins creating again, not from lack, but from divine connection. She becomes the creatrix, building, birthing, receiving guidance, moving with intuition, and collaborating with the divine rather than chasing proof. And your inner masculine doesn't dismiss that. He honors it, he grounds it, he creates structure for it. He becomes the stable force that says, I will protect what is sacred inside us. And that is the real infinity symbol, two energies intertwined within your own soul first. Not as an idea you admire, but as an internal union you embody. Your yin and yang stop pulling against each other. They stop sabotaging each other. They start moving as one intelligence. Your softness supported by your strength, your intuition supported by your discipline, your sensitivity supported by your standards. When you thread that union inside you, when your inner masculine finally falls in love with your inner feminine, and your inner feminine trusts your inner masculine, you stop seeking completion outside of yourself. You stop making someone else the center of your spiritual journey. And that shift is not small. It changes everything. Your nervous system, your choices, your boundaries, your energy, your ability to receive love without losing yourself. And here's the truth. When that aspect becomes whole within you, the divine counterpart outside of you can finally happen without distortion. Because you're no longer calling them in to fill a gap, you're meeting them as a whole soul. You're not chasing reunification as a rescue, you're allowing it as a reflection. Wholeness first, then reunification. Not because you're being tested, but because your soul is being aligned. If you've made it this far, take a slow breath and let this land, because this part isn't about chasing a person, it's about returning to yourself. Reflect for a moment. Where has your inner masculine been tense, controlling, or guarding? And where has your inner feminine been silenced, overgiving, or waiting to be chosen? Be honest, not to judge yourself, but to liberate yourself. And if you feel called, leave a comment and share what you're integrating right now. Your story might be the mirror someone else needs today. Or, if you don't have the words yet, simply type this affirmation in the comments. I choose wholeness first, and I trust divine timing. Section 6. You are not an amoeba, you are multidimensional. Some people will try to reduce the twin flame journey into something simple and contained. They'll tell you it's only for personal growth, only for your evolution, only so you can become your own twin flame and walk away from anything that feels bigger than you. And yes, growth is part of it. Evolution is real. Becoming whole matters. But the truth is, this path was never meant to stay locked inside the walls of a private self. Because you are not an amoeba. You are not a single cell drifting through life with one small purpose and one small identity. You are multidimensional layers of consciousness, memory, spirit, and nervous system intelligence living inside a human form. You are here not just to heal a wound, but to remember what you were before the world taught you to shrink. You are here to bring the cosmology of the universe into form again, into divine love, divine truth, and the pure energy of light on earth. Not as fantasy, not as a concept you think about, as embodiment, as a frequency you live, hold, and transmit through your choices, your standards, your boundaries, and your presence. And that is why the mirror of that one soul is not small. It is not random. It is not just a romantic storyline or an emotional test designed to keep you looping in longing. The mirror is a cosmic mechanism, an activation. It reveals what was buried, suppressed, distorted, or denied, not to punish you, but to return you to your original remembrance. It forces you to see where you are fragmented, where you abandoned your truth, where you perform love instead of embodying it. It calls you back into alignment, not just in your heart, but in your body, your voice, your choices, your energy field, and your ability to stay anchored when emotion rises. So when people tell you, this is only about you, understand what they mean and what they miss. Yes, this is about you becoming whole, but not so you can live small. Not so you can say, I healed, I'm done, and treat your soul like a private project. You are multidimensional for a reason. Your healing is not the finish line, it is the doorway. Your regulation is not the end, it is the foundation. And your awakening is not for performance, it is for embodiment, for bringing divine love and divine truth into the real world through how you live, how you love, and how you refuse to betray yourself ever again. Because you were never meant to be a single cell floating alone. You were always meant to be a living bridge between spirit and earth, between remembrance and reality, between cosmic truth and human love. Section 7. The law of the universe, as within, so without. If you have truly met your twin flame and you genuinely commit to the inner work, union is not a random miracle, it is a result, because the universe functions through law, not luck. And the law at the center of this journey can be spoken in one line that has echoed through spiritual traditions for centuries. As above, so below, as within, so without. What that means is simple, but it is not shallow. Your outer reality can only stabilize at the level your inner reality can hold. Your relationship cannot become sacred on the outside if your energy is still divided on the inside. So when we say do the work, we are not talking about performing spirituality. We are talking about rebuilding your inner foundation, your inner polarity, your inner masculine and feminine, your inner yin and yang, until they stop fighting each other. Until your inner masculine no longer controls out of fear, and your inner feminine no longer reaches out from longing. Until your nervous system is no longer addicted to chaos as proof of love. Until you can hold desire without chasing, hold silence without collapsing, hold truth without bargaining with it. This is what it means to reconstruct the inner temple. This is what many call embodying the God self, the higher self, not as a concept, but as a lived frequency. And here is where the law becomes unavoidable. When you complete that alignment within, your external reality must reflect it. Not because you forced someone to change, not because you manifested a person through obsession, but because creation itself is built through pairing, through polar energies that are designed to meet in wholeness. Masculine and feminine, consciousness and embodiment, direction and magnetism. When your inner polarity becomes coherent, it becomes magnetic. It stops emitting mixed signals into the field. It stops calling in lessons, mirrors, and almost love. It begins calling in what matches truth. This is why union is not something you beg for, it is something you become ready for. When you obtain the higher self within, you become a living match to your divine counterpart without needing to manipulate timing, decode signs, or chase confirmation. Because the universe does not reward desperation, it responds to alignment. And alignment is purity. It is when the soul stops splitting itself in half and starts returning to its original structure, balanced, sovereign, integrated. So understand this clearly. The polarity of divine love is what creates unification. It purifies the soul's experience on earth, not by fantasy, but by embodiment. You don't earn union by suffering, you align with it by becoming whole. And when you become whole within, the outer world must eventually meet you there. That is not a promise based on emotion. That is the law, as within, so without. If you have truly met your twin, then you already know this journey is not designed to be comfortable, it is designed to be honest. And when honesty arrives, the nervous system often tries to protect you the only way it knows how, by numbing, denying, distracting, spiritualizing, or pretending you don't care. But that isn't strength. That is avoidance, dressed up as control. Because the twin flame path is not a fantasy meant to save you from your wounds. It is a mirror that refuses to lie. So do not numb what is rising. Do not deny what you feel. Do not distract yourself into silence that looks like peace, but is really suppression. Stand in truth. Face the mirror and let what comes up, come up, not to punish you, but to free you. From a psychological lens, healing is not about fixing yourself so you can be chosen. Healing is about becoming so internally whole that you no longer abandon yourself when love triggers you. It is about building a regulated, grounded inner home so your heart stops searching for safety in signs, texts, timing, or temporary shifts. This is how you end the cycle. This is how you stop repeating the same emotional lesson in different bodies. And spiritually, this is what ascension looks like in real life, not escaping the human experience, but mastering it through embodiment, through integrity, through self-responsibility, through choosing growth over coping. This path is here to transform you into illumination on earth. Not performative light, not high-vibe denial. Real light, the kind that can hold grief, hold truth, hold longing, and still remain sovereign. So make this your legacy. A love that does not manipulate, a heart that does not chase, a spirit that does not abandon itself. Because when you do the work, union stops being a wish. It becomes law. Not because you forced someone to awaken, but because you became the kind of person who can hold what you say you want. And what is meant to meet you will not require you to betray yourself to receive it. Now I want to hear from you because your voice matters in this space. Leave a comment with this exact quote: "I do the work, and love becomes law." If this message grounded you, like this video so it reaches the ones who need it. Share it with someone walking this journey in silence. And most importantly, watch the video below because what comes next will help you stay steady, stay clear, and keep choosing yourself while the universe rearranges what is meant to meet you.